Hey guys, what's up? Stock Retail coming back to you 2 days in a row. I know what's going on. But probably you're asking what's going on as well because the markets have some pretty big moves. Started last night with the Japanese market. If you're on Twitter, you might have seen me post about that. And then just rolled through the day today. So lots going on. I'm just going to freeform again a little bit like I did yesterday, not like a presentation or anything like I sometimes do. Just want to get some thoughts out there and hopefully even calm some minds because you might be looking and just seeing a lot of red out there and going, man, what's going on? And I want to actually call you back to these are things that some of us, and I'll put myself in there, I'm going to show you some of the receipts here in a minute. Some of us have said this was what would play out, and we've said it even for years in some cases. I don't think many of us thought it would take quite this long. But you've heard me say sometimes when you call a shot and it plays out the way you said it would play out, that should actually sort of make you calm or confident and not sort of, dwelling in fear or anxiety. So if I can just help you today, explain a little bit of what I see, certainly doesn't mean I know everything. When we're talking about global financial markets, this is really, really big, and there's more than any one person understands. But I'm going to tell you what I see and how it's playing out the way I said it would, and why actually that makes me confident for all three of AMC, Bitcoin, and GameStop. Let me just kind of go through a couple things. And like I said, not any kind of presentation today, just talking through some things. So first off, you might have seen just anywhere you look, like here is a post I shared from someone else about how bank stocks were melting down. Earlier today, I talked about how Amazon's down double digits, Snap is down almost 30%, Intel down like 30%, Nvidia is down about 20% in 3 weeks. The S&P 500, the biggest 500 companies in the U.S. combined, are down almost double digits the past couple weeks. And if I just pointed to, if you were to go on Twitter to my highlighted tweets, or if you go on Reddit, you would see, so one of my highlighted, actually it's my pinned tweet. There is a post on Reddit that I posted 3 years ago. So when I talk about we saw this coming, 3 years ago, I explain a lot of the mechanics of this. And I said, I think that we are due for bubble popping in the market and how that would impact, in particular, AMC and GameStop, and why that basically will end up proving the thesis true for us. So you could go to Reddit and find me. You can see on that I'm stock_retail. You could go on Twitter and look at my highlighted tweets, and you'd see a lot of things. Like here, I'll show you. Back last December, I said, hey, a crash is coming, and I tried to explain why. I've had a lot in my highlighted tweets you would find about tokens, another thing we've talked about for 3 years, if you followed me, and why that's going to be part of things getting cleaned up, and just more about why this bubble was going to pop, why this crash was coming. I basically was saying get on the arc. To me, the arc is AMC, GameStop, and Bitcoin. Longer term, in particular, Bitcoin. But we'll see. In terms of shorter term, will GameStop and AMC squeeze and all of that. And so I just want to kind of highlight why I'm so calm today, even though the markets are melting down. So, I mentioned this is basically predicted years out. In some cases I even got trolled and made fun of and whatever. But, when you kind of can read the macroeconomics, when you can have an understanding that I think some of the players that we've been up against have been effectively supporting their margins by pumping some longs. So I felt NVIDIA was a bit of a pump, the SPY, the Mag 7, I've talked about those things. And, you see what has been melting down these past couple of weeks. Now, understand there's a lot of talk about recession and all of that. That's what's playing in, but that's also what was predicted. You can't ignore layoffs. You can't ignore the real estate market. You can't ignore interest rates. There's just a lot of macroeconomics that are setting up classically. And so the market, is reacting to that. And I think a lot of people are probably getting hit with margin calls. Go look at that Reddit post for more on all of that. Margin calls doesn't have to mean, immediate squeeze. It can mean a lot of movement in the market. And so that's what I think we're seeing playing out. But I think that's bullish for us. We predicted this year's out. We warned against again last year. And then just look, so the box office, you already know, if you were to look like the whole last quarter was about 1.9 billion. But if you looked at, so that's April, May, June, right? That's 3 months combined. That was strike impacted, so that was low. But if you look at just June and July, so if 3 months was about 1.9 billion, but these 2 months of just June and July are about 2.1 billion. So you can see how much stronger the box office has gotten. If you kind of look at a rolling quarter and you took June, July, August, you're going to see, how much stronger that is. So I've told you for months as well that we are in a profitable season. That is clearly proving out. I mean, I don't mind saying that very confidently because I can pretty much mathematically prove that June and July are profits and positive cash flows for AMC. I believe August continues that. And then if you were to look, Adam has said the back half of the year. I have said the back half of the year. You still have a lot of really big movies coming. You have popcorn having rolled out. You have debt at lower levels than it's been. So AMC is definitely into a profitable season. So that should give you confidence. If the thesis was the market is going to have some kind of meltdown event, that is going to put pressure on margins and pressure on the shorts. Meanwhile, I go through my playlist on YouTube about the great unwinding, or look at that hashtag from me on Twitter, and I've explained effectively that in some ways the Bitcoin ETFs, the rise of Bitcoin, which also there's a lot of shorts on Bitcoin too, by the way. So that is going to put pressure on shorts as well. Basically, just the walls are closing in everywhere. There'd be this unwinding of all that happened to us with the tokens, and there's these smart contracts, and it has to do with Ethereum as well. And so far, the script is playing out like I thought it would. Again, not as fast as I thought it would, but it is matching the things that I have posted and said for years. And so that is, honestly, it's even kind of blowing my mind, that it's playing out as closely as what I thought. So that's kind of bonkers to me, but it also inspires then calm and confidence. I can wait until this really plays out. So if you're seeing the markets melting down as we had predicted in the ways that some of us predicted, I say we, that's just an acknowledgement that I wasn't the only one who got this right. That's all I mean. So if that's playing out like we said it would, if AMC is at profits, remember, survive then thrive. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is standing out against fiat currencies. It's predictable what's coming next. I would say gold and silver as well will stand out, obviously, against fiat currencies. I just like Bitcoin a lot better. It has stood out a lot better than those. But generally, the hedges against debasement are becoming ever more valuable. And so you're seeing that as well. There are some predictable next steps. Maybe I'll just talk through what I see the next couple of years sometime. I guess if I've gotten this many predictions right, maybe it's time to make some new predictions. So perhaps I'll do that. But that's why I like Bitcoin a lot, because I believe that fiat currencies are just kind of in a doom spiral. We're funding all these wars, we're funding debt, and we're funding poor leadership through just printing money. Well, that naturally debases or reduces the value of your money. And so things that you can't print that can hold value and have some use case become really, really valuable. So to me, that is why Bitcoin is part of winning the day as the market melts down. And then, I mentioned GameStop and AMC. Between the swaps and the tokens, there's a lot of cleanup that has not happened and that is due. And I have said for years, sunk cost and the bill comes due, and I still believe that. And then, of course, with GameStop, what ought to calm you and give you confidence is the billions of dollars of cash on hand. So that's kind of it. Apologies for just sort of throwing this together, or I suppose not apologies, just hope you'll bear with that these are just kind of me thinking out loud, stream of consciousness a little bit. But effectively what I'm saying is the market is doing what many of us said it would do at a time when GameStop is flush with cash, AMC is profitable, and Bitcoin is sort of, in many ways, taking over the world as even banks, financial institutions, and political leadership all sort of say, okay, this thing is real, and they're adopting it. So if you're in AMC, Bitcoin, or GameStop, or all three, I think this is a time not to worry and a time to just say, interesting, the thesis is playing out as we said, so perhaps some optimism in kind of what plays out in coming days. And in particular with AMC, I'm excited for the earnings call this afternoon, or afternoon my time, maybe evening for some of you. Perhaps you saw that Cinemark was up like 7 or 8% today, because they said, hey, we're outpacing the industry. You know my point of view on AMC, that because of its fixed cost model, as the top line rises, expenses are not rising commensurate to how revenues are going to rise, which means the bottom line is going to outpace revenue growth effectively. AMC has some levers that are going to start making sort of multipliers. So could not be more excited. I know it's a rough day seeing all this red all over the place, but I hope you guys see that really the thesis is playing out and we will win.